Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to Module 6, Nature to Nurture, Harvesting Methods. Y'all, this is our last of the last module where I will be teaching you and guiding you in how to harvest your mushrooms so that you can start to experience them and just start to create magical, intentional experiences for yourself and practices as well, because we're going to also learn how to integrate our medicine, period. Confirmation. All right, the spirit of harvesting. Culmination, sorry y'all, I literally just learned this word, of patience and care. So accumulation just means how to harness something basically. Harvest affects both the quality of your yield and the energy you put into your medicine. Most mushrooms have multiple flushes if harvested correctly. So the way that you harvest has a effect on your mushrooms either growing more flushes or deciding to get contaminated. I've had experiences where my mushrooms, after harvesting, I was able to always yield more mushrooms, but sometimes in my batches, there was some contamination spreading. So my second yield may didn't come out as you know as best as my first yield. So this is something that's pivotal. And also harvesting with intention, creating a ritual behind how you harvest your mushrooms is going to give you the best results because as we say in this whole course, your intentions are going to be what helps you with your experience, because not only are you understanding the growth of a mushroom, you're understanding the growth of your internal self. The more that we grow things we're able to exhibit nature and how we nurture that nature, the more that we nurture our internal beings, because it's symbolic to the mind to how we grow and we evolve, right? And especially growing something like mushrooms, just having your own medicine, whether it's food, whether it's whatever experience that you're pulling from it, you want to make sure that you're doing everything intentional. Harvesting mushrooms is an art of observation and timing. Each species has its own rhythm, but the signs of readiness are often universal. Nature always whispers before she blooms. So you're going to know. It's an internal knowing that we all have when it comes to how we are able to integrate patience and care into the things that we are developing and we're growing for ourselves, right? Excuse me if y'all hear my phone beeping in the background. I'm in a conversation right now with some fellow beings. All right, the spirit of harvesting, how to harvest. We always talk about sterilization. Sterilization is highly important for when it comes to dealing with mushrooms. What's the saying? Cleanliness is next to godliness. Yes. So tap into that godliness and also tap into that cleanliness. Clean your space tools, wash hands, wear gloves if desired, and sanitize scissors or knives with alcohol. So before you even begin harvesting, making sure that you use alcohol or any type of I would say alcohol. I'm not going to say any type of disinfectant, because some certain disinfectants can be a little bit harsh to not only the mushrooms but to you. Remove clusters gently. Hold the base of the cluster and twist or cut gently. Avoid tearing the substrate. For single fruits like lion's mane or reishi, use sterilized knife to slice close to the base. So if you're using a knife, you want to get as close to the base as possible. If you're using your hands, just your hands, which I like to personally use myself, you want to make sure that you twist from the bottom and that you gently pluck it. You want to, like, almost like plucking a delicate flower. 3, clean the substrate. Gently remove leftover stumps or debris to prevent contamination. Y'all, I cannot stress how pivotal this is. I cannot stress how important this is. Making sure that there are no debris as much as possible, as much as, because sometimes it's a little bit, I know in my experience it can be hard sometimes, making sure that every piece is up, because you don't want to also disrupt the soil. You don't want to disrupt the soil, so you want to make sure that when you're pulling it, that you're not interrupting the mycelium connection, because once it's interrupted, it can hinder your next flush. Respect the flush. Most grows will produce 2 to 3 flushes if properly rehydrated after each harvest. So yeah, you want to make sure that you are having respect to the flush, because like I said, when you're mindful about gentleness and care, you are easily able to get 2 3 flushes. I just had my last batch. I just got 2 flushes out of that. I was able to get a couple of ounces out of that one batch, that one batch of mushrooms, because mushrooms, they like to regenerate quickly. They're gonna drop the spores and they're gonna keep it pushing. And they're gonna keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. So that's the cool, amazing thing about mushrooms and why I love them. All right. The spirit of harvesting. Aftercare and rehydration. After harvest, lightly mist the substrate or pour a small amount of clean water along the sides of the tub. Maintain fruiting conditions like humidity, airflow. So don't stop. Whatever you've been doing has been working for you, continue to do that. Don't change anything about what you've been doing. Also, yes, misting the sides can be pivotal, because you want to create that humidity again. You want to create that environment to continue to nurture the growth of the mushroom. Allow 5 to 10 business days for the next flush to begin forming. So I said business days. That's yeah, don't mind me. I don't listen. When I'm in the corporate world or something, I don't know where my mind is. 5 to 10 business days. You got. Anywho, tips for gourmet mushrooms. If your block looks dry, cover it with wax paper or plastic dome for 1 or 2 days to help it absorb moisture evenly. All right. Y'all, this is going to be a quick module. We're going to get through this very quickly, so it won't be long. This is your last module, y'all, and then you graduate with a deeper understanding of how to grow your own mushrooms. That's a beautiful thing, honey. You don't know how far you can go with learning how to grow something. All right, do we do that? All right, let's go back here. The spirit of harvesting, storage and preservation basics. I think we talked about this a little bit. We touched on this a little bit in our last module, if I'm not mistaken. But fresh mushrooms store in a paper bag or breathable container in the fridge for 5 to 7 days. Dried mushrooms dehydrate until crisp. That is so important. When you are dehydrating your mushrooms, you want to make sure, because sometimes it takes a good minute, depending on what kind of dehydrator you have. You don't have to do nothing crazy, but I would suggest investing in a dehydrator that allows you to change the temperature and the time on it. So you could put your mushrooms on 130 degrees, I believe it's Fahrenheit, or Celsius. I'm not really too keen on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Fahrenheit. And then allow it to dry the mushrooms out and dehydrate them. And store in an airtight jar in a cool, dark place, and it can last up to 2 years. So you can have these mushrooms for a while. Powder form, grind dry mushrooms and store in amber glass for use in teas and tinctures. So this is just another form and another method for you to store your mushrooms. Powder is amazing. You can also make capsules out of your powder, especially if you are somebody who wants to use it more supplementally, or for microdosing, or for, just anything that because you can create your own medicine out of these things, right? Tinctures and extracts, store in amber drop bottles, shelf life 1 or 2. And with tinctures, you want to make sure that you You know what? I actually have to come back to y'all on the tincture thing. I'll drop a tincture recipe at the bottom of this. But I want to say that you cannot use alcohol base for tinctures, but I could be wrong on that. So I will give y'all the deets when I receive them. The spirit of harvesting. So this is a little ritual. Take 3 deep breaths before harvesting. Set your intention. I tell y'all, make sure that you're setting your intention when it comes to anything that you're doing in life, especially when you are harvesting something that you have grown from seed to soil, from spore to harvest. Make sure that you are setting your intention so that because everything is energy, and the more energy, positive energy and intentional energy that you pour into something, the more that you can receive something back. We got to remember, anything that we output, we receive back, we input, right? Set an intention for how the mushrooms will serve healing, creativity, or nourishment. So how will these mushrooms nourish you? How will they nurture you? Right? That's the biggest point and message I want to put out there is intention in nourishing the self, nourishing the inner self, nourishing who you are, right? We're always doing that. We're constantly doing that. So remember to always be intentional about everything that you do in life. Optional, play soft music, sound bowls to elevate the energy of gratitude. I like to play sound bowls, my chimes. I'm a sound healer, so I like to do these things. I like to play these vibrations so that my mushrooms can receive them, and they hold on to it. They feel it. Even if you're growing plants, any type of plant, you want to make sure that you're playing your music. You want to make sure that you're talking to them. You want to, because they feel it just the way you feel energy. They feel energy, right? And we have to nurture them the same way. We have to give that gratitude the same way. Energetic reminder. Harvesting is the moment of exchange, the meeting point between patience and reward. The energy you carry when you harvest becomes a part of the medicine you receive. Encourage, this is for y'all. So I encourage you to pause and breathe and give thanks and give gratitude before you even start touching the mushrooms, right? You can create a ritual, like I said, playing music, talking to your mushrooms, dancing, anything that you can do on an energetic level. Doing Reiki, if you're a Reiki, somebody into Reiki, doing Reiki on your mushrooms, right? Holding crystals over your mushrooms, just doing whatever you feel called to do so that your mushrooms can hold on to that energy and put that energy back into you once you start consuming them. All right, so some common mistakes. Waiting too long. Mushrooms drop spores and lose potency. So if you wait too long to get your mushrooms, you'll know when the cap, before the mushroom starts to open up, is the best time. Right before it starts to do that, and you will know because they will tell you, right before it starts to do that, you want to get your mushrooms. You want to get your mushrooms harvest, right? And I will drop more video links and just pictures at the bottom of this video. You'll see them in the link. But observe daily, harvest at optimal cap stage. Like I said, before the cap even opens up. Now, if you're growing gourmet mushrooms, you can wait till of course it's going to show you, and they do have a difference. It's going to show you and it's going to tell you. Pulling instead of cutting damages substrate, reduces future flushes. So if you're like just yanking it out and you're not being patient with it, buddy, that ain't gonna work for you. Using twisting or cutting motion. This is going to be the most prominent for you to harvest your mushrooms. Harvesting when wet. Mushroom brews rot faster. So when they're wet, is not going to the potency or the what I want to say. The mushroom itself, it will bruise a lot faster. Wait 1 or 2 hours after misting. Ignoring leftover stumps. Y'all, this is so important. Do not leave any of those stumps in there because they will attract mold. It's basically like opening up an orange and leaving it on a counter. Guess what? You have exposed it. Once it's exposed to air, then it's going to start to attract other bacteria and other things to it, because it's like, oh, what's this? Yummy, yummy, yummy. I want to eat it. Mycelium eats a lot of things, but stuff be eating the fungi too, right? Gently remove debris post harvest. All right, and I do have some references here. This main article, The Magic of Growing Your Own Mushrooms, so that you can have a better understanding of what this looks like and how this looks like. And like I said, and I want to put it into legal contexts, is do this at your own discretion. If you're not in a legal state, hey, I can't tell you what to do. But what I will say is make sure that you're doing everything for your information and for your research purposes. Do your research, okay? Take everything in life with a grain of salt and do your own due diligence, because that's how you learn, right? And don't come back to me saying I got arrested, I got a felony because I did something illegal. I'm not condoning anybody to do anything illegal. What I am condoning is that you practice in discretion of what you want to teach yourself. You don't have to tell everybody everything. All right. All right. Intention setting prompt. So, of course, like with our intention setting, here's a prompt that you can use. Reflect on the following: what this growth process taught me about patience and trust. What did you learn about patience? What did you learn about yourself when it came to being patient? How did you trust the process? What tools or what ways of thinking and being did you use to trust this process? Where in my life am I ready to harvest the results of my consistency? So where are some areas of your life where you're ready to actually get the results from being consistent at something? How have I changed or evolved since I began this process? What has this taught you? What has growing your own medicine, your own food, your own however you source it, what has this process taught you? And what have you learned truly? What does it mean to receive something I've nurtured with intention? Oh my God, I'm sure it means everything in the world, right? When you put intention into something, have you ever grown something before? Have you ever, even if you have children, just putting that intention into them and nurturing them, you always feel like you're consistently receiving a gift because you see how they grow, how they evolve, what they're learning, and how beautiful of a being that they are, just a reflection of you. And everything reflects back to you who you are. How can I honor both the seen, the mushrooms, and the unseen, the inner growth? So, what internally can you identify with that you have been able to grow on a high awareness level within yourself, to where you can say, wow, this is something that's honorable to me. This is something that I've been able to work over time, right? Because everything takes time. You have to start somewhere, though. It takes steps, and it takes a process, and it takes you to have systems in place for yourself so that you can attain the mindset, the evolution that you want for you, right? Because everything about mushrooms is teaching you how to connect to self. Before or after harvesting, pause and take a few slow breaths. Gently hold or sit near mushrooms and reflect on the cycle you just completed. Speak a simple intention aloud. I receive what has been grown with care, and I honor the process that brought it here. Journal afterward about this harvest represents in your life, not just what you've grown, but who you are becoming in the process. Y'all, I just want to say before I end this, thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for being here in the process. We will be having Q&A every week. I will drop that down below as well. I got a lot of things to drop down below. Be patient with me, be kind with me, because I'm building something and I want this to be something sustainable. So it does take time. I really appreciate you all for just being here, being present, and thank you for supporting. And I will be talking to you all about your growth within yourself and within your mushrooms. If you have any questions or any delays or any problems or issues, definitely do not be afraid to talk about it in our community, because I am one at the time that I'm speaking this, the community is created, but it's not up and running right now. So we will get that up and running, and we will start having discussions on how growing our mushrooms and how growing our internal selves is effective for us. I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just showing gratitude, and peace out to you. Grow them mushrooms. Don't be scared.